A new report says hundreds of millions of dead profiles will be added to Facebook over the next few decades. And it's raising new questions about how users and Facebook should handle the data of the deceased. RT's Trinity Chavez explains.
Facebook could soon have more dead users than alive. In fact, if the company continues to expand at its current rates, it could have almost 5 billion dead users by 2100, making the world's largest social networking site a massive digital graveyard.
According to a new analysis by Oxford researchers, the dead may outnumber the living within 50 years. The analysis predicts that based on 2018 user levels, at least 1.4 billion members will die before 2100. In this case, the dead could outnumber the living by 2070. But if Facebook continues to expand at current rates, the number of the deceased users could reach as high as 4.9 billion users before the end of the century. Although the analysis is based on unlikely scenarios, it still raises questions about how the accounts of the deceased users are treated on social media. The lead author of the study, Carl Ullman, said in a statement, "These statistics give rise to new and difficult questions around who has the right to all this data, how it should be managed in the best interests of the families and friends of the deceased, and its use by future historians to understand the past." Now, Facebook did acknowledge the problem last month when it announced that it was changing how it handled those accounts by using AI technology to stop reminding users of a deceased friend or family member's birthday or recommending someone who passed away. The platform also gives you the option to choose to either appoint a legacy contact to look after your memorialized account or have your account permanently deleted from Facebook.
The page might remain public, which would be wonderful because for years after, friends and family may want to return to that page on a milestone event, a birthday, an anniversary, Father's Day, and make a comment, which I think is a wonderful thing. It's a way of helping people actively go through their grief.
But some experts still caution users when it comes to sharing any personal data with Facebook or other social media platforms.
They still have that information somewhere. You know, in their records, you know, your profile for the time that you were alive, they still retain that information. And, you know, they've been hacked before. You know, they've given the information away willingly before.
Meanwhile, David Watson, the co-author of the study, argues that controlling the social media archive should not just be left to one company, given the historical importance of the data that's being created every day. He said in a statement, Facebook should invite historians, archivists, archaeologists, and ethicists to participate in the process of curating the vast volume of accumulated data that we leave behind as we pass away. This is not just about finding solutions that will be sustainable for the next couple of years, but possibly for many decades ahead.
Now, I reached out to Facebook, and a spokesperson for the company told me that when you delete something that you've posted, they do remove it from your timeline and from company servers. Now, you could also delete your account whenever you want, but it could take up to 90 days to make sure that everything is deleted. And the company says that they also don't retain anything that you've posted or any information that can be connected to you or identify you. Reporting in New York, Trinity Chavez, RT.
I want to go a little bit more in depth, so I want to bring in legal and media analyst Lionel. Thank you so much for joining us on this.
Thank you.
Now, here on this show, we talk a lot about the rights you have while still alive. But when you die, do you still have rights?
You don't have rights. Your rights cease. You are deceased. However, your estate kicks in. Now, that's a term that does not necessarily mean that you have a large amount, but your property, that which you leave behind, including, Scotty, your body, your skin, your eyes, your organs for transplantation, that falls under the control and the jurisdiction of your family because that's now their property. You go from Scotty Nell Hughes to property. And your estate is a different story. So your estate kicks in, but you per se do not have rights. You can't libel the dead, for example, like you could a living person.
Well, that's interesting, and that's interesting to say you can't libel the dead, because I would think that there would be, even we're talking about Michael Jackson's right now in the headlines right now for things that are coming out about him. I know the family's brought up some issues. But talking about the family, you know, I have to ask you, what lawyers do? What do you do as a lawyer in regards when family members actually come to you and ask you to retrieve some of these deceased members' passwords and social media access? How do you handle those types of situations?
When you look at a person's will and you have a lot of things, for example, in your will, in your testamentary devise, you can leave information as to, you know, safety deposit boxes and real property. But here's the question. Who owns this data? People think that their data is theirs. And I want to disabuse people of this right away. Stop saying it's my data and my information. You gave this to Facebook. You said, here's my name. You also gave it to the CBS Record CD Club years ago. And if you go to Walmart and your cars, you're giving all this data out. You don't own that data. You gave it to them. It's theirs. Now, as a matter of decency, I still get wish so-and-so a happy birthday from an actor who's been dead for like 15 years, and it can get eerie and creepy. But here's what you have to do, and as was said before, you must leave instructions to your family. Here's my login, here's my password, and that sort of thing. But let me just say something. This data is not yours. Stop saying that. If data is retrieved from yours, if through surveillance or some kind of privacy violation, that's one thing. But Scotty, the next time you say yes, 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 it's now theirs.
Well, real quick, before I let you go, I've got 1 minute left. Just breaking, Facebook and Instagram, owned by the same company, have banned InfoWars, Milo, and Louis Farrakhan's, their social media. Can they do this? Is this a positive thing? They've cited it saying that, because they're both sides, saying that they actually encourage hateful and violent activities. Is this a good thing? And does Facebook and Instagram have that right? Real quick.
No, it is not a good thing. Number two, they have a right. Number three, there is no First Amendment protection because they are not the government. But absent legislation, absent something that is created by the courts or the legislature or Congress, then one day I submit we should treat these platforms as utilities, the same way that you, by virtue of their size, these are means by which people speak on a broad range, just like the phone company, like the dial tone, like the power company. But until that happens, it's theirs, it's their term of service, and we need legislation and courts to intervene.
Well, I wanted to get your first response on this breaking news, and I'm sure we'll have you back on to go more in depth. Thank you, Lionel.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.